we'll read page 357 now. It's a very important page.
Vasistha continued, "Give up all your doubts, resort to moral courage, be a supreme doer of actions, supreme enjoyer of delight and supreme renouncer of all." Such triple discipline was taught in days of yore by Lord Shiva to Brigisa, by which the latter attained total freedom. Brigisa was a man of ordinary or traditional self-knowledge. He approached Lord Shiva and asked, "Lord, I am deluded by this world appearance. Pray, tell me the attitude, equipped with which I shall be freed from this delusion." Lord Shiva replied, "Give up all your doubts, resort to moral courage, be a Mahabhokta, great enjoyer of delight, Mahakarta, great doer of actions, and Mahatyagi, perfect renouncer." He is a Mahakarta, great doer of actions, who is freed of doubts and performs appropriate actions in natural situations, whether they be regarded as dharma, right, or dharma, wrong, without being swayed by likes and dislikes or success and failure, without ego sense or jealousy, remaining with his mind in a state of silence and purity. He is unattached to anything but remains as a witness of everything, without selfish desires or motives, without sorrow or grief, indifferent to action and inaction, without excitement or exaltation, but with a mind at peace. His very nature is peace, and equilibrium or equanimity, which is sustained in all situations, in the birth, existence, or annihilation of all things. He is the Mahabhokta, great enjoyer, who does not hate anything nor longs for anything, but enjoys all natural experiences, who does not cling to nor renounce anything even while engaged in actions, who does not experience, though experiencing, who witnesses the world play unaffected by it. His heart is not affected by pleasure and pain that arise in the course of life and the changes that cause confusion, and he regards with delight old age and death, sovereignty and poverty, and even great calamities and fortunes. His very nature is non-violent and virtuous, and he enjoys what is sweet and what is bitter with equal relish, without making any arbitrary distinction. This is enjoyable and that is not. He is a Mahatyagi, great renouncer, who has banished from his mind concepts like dharma and adharma, pain and pleasure, birth and death, all desires, all doubts, all convictions, who sees the falsity in the experience of pain by his body, mind, etc., who has realized I have no body, no birth, no right, no wrong, and who has completely abandoned from his heart the notion of world appearance. Vasistha continued, "Thus did Lord Shiva instruct Bringisa, who then became enlightened, adopt this attitude, Arama, and transcend sorrow."
Very simple it is. We'll start from where Lord Shiva replied. First thing he says is give up all doubts. Why? What doubts do you have?
Like on this path, on the knowledge, and
Doubts that this is not like the doubt that is there really another side to this, or is this really reality?
Whether I'll be able to do it or not.
But bigger than that, I will be able to do it or not is I am already enlightened. Doesn't Guruji all the time tell you that? You just forget this statement of his and you move on. You are not ready to accept this at face value when he says that you are already enlightened. You have just closed your eyes. You don't want to believe this. Yeah, why? Because I like this state with my eyes closed because I'm lost in my ragas and dveshas and I'm doing the bhoga of this world and I'm enjoying that bhoga. Yeah, that is why I don't want to really open my eyes and see the truth because I know definitely the bhoga will be lost. And I really don't want to lose the bhoga. Have you realized this? This is your truth. That's why you're not ready to see that you're already enlightened.
I'm observing it's a lot more the insecurity that comes with the ego. The ego is essentially insecure because it's false. And so the things that we think we like, we actually don't even like those.
Yes.
But it's that survival instinct of the ego, if you will, is so strong that it keeps convincing you
Yes.
that
Maybe you
this
built
is
such a
what
big empire, you have a family, you have a job, a career.
Yeah.
It was to protect that. Actually, it's only a sandcastle. It's not even true.
And we've lived with that for so long, it's very hard to say, you are false, and there's
This.
I can let that go.
Yeah.
That's the essential struggle, and happens at such subtle levels of reinforcing you are so great. You deserve all this.
Yes.
It's actually very insecure.
That is why you have the doubts. The first sentence itself, it's very direct to your ego. And give up all doubts. The moment the ego gives up that doubt, it is going to know, oh, I'm already enlightened. Enlightenment is not like lights coming on, some disco or some nonsense is not going to happen. You are already enlightened. You already know. The moment you take that step, you have recognized that I'm that self, even if I'm there just for a few seconds. But then something shakes and pulls you back out into these thoughts and emotions and the drama of the world. Check who's that really shaking you. What is it that moved you out? What is it?
Just the fear of the loss of an identity that you have.
Who created it?
I only.
First you recognize I am the self. For a few seconds you are there. So who is creating that fear and pulling you out?
The ego.
So that means the ego is not I.
Yeah.
Have you recognized this?
Yes.
Very clearly.
Yeah.
So the ego rises and like
It's just like another thought. It comes and it just comes and it attacks you and takes you away from that peace that you are.
And that taking away, like, just an experience, like you feel it, like the layer of the conversation is not here, it's actually here.
It is in front. That's
Like,
what I keep telling you.
yeah.
It's in the foreground. You are somewhere at the background just witnessing it. But then you drop the witnessing act and you jump in and become involved.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. The moment you just stay in the witnessing, you can observe this losing power in front of you. And this becomes stronger, this becomes weaker.
Yeah.
You have to just sustain this restless phase between the ego losing power and the self gaining power. There's a very restless tension that goes on here because it's been so successful all its life to pull you. Now it's like a magnet is pulling, but you are not giving in. So, could you imagine what is that magnetic tension? That's going to be there for a while. And that's what you have to sustain. Once you cross that, it loses its strength. The magnet just loses its strength. It's no more a magnet. Yeah? So, you have to learn to drop these doubts. The moment doubts drop, you see, oh, I'm already that. I am the self. That's why I can maintain myself in this silence absolutely. Only in the foreground some thoughts come and then they go. Only some emotions arise and then they go. I have not given them power. You see what I'm saying? It's in your hands whether you want to give it power or not. That is the meaning of give up all your doubts. If you've understood this so far, then you'll understand the three very clearly. Yeah. So he says, for the first one, a Mahakarta. Who is a Mahakarta? He is a Mahakarta, great doer of actions, who is freed of doubts and performs appropriate actions in natural situations, whether they be regarded as dharma or adharma. Yeah? Without being swayed by likes and dislikes, or success and failure, without ego sense or jealousy, remaining with his mind in a state of silence and purity. Yeah, so he's established in the self. Yeah, he's in the silence and purity. Staying there, he has to take an action for whatever has come his way. Yeah. So how does he do it? Without likes and dislikes, and without even dharma or dharma, whether it is right or wrong. Because when you are established, you will never do really something wrong. You don't have to make an effort to think, oh, am I doing right or am I doing wrong? Yeah, there is no success, failure, no thoughts. There's no ego sense. Only ego thinks of, oh, I have to win over the other person. Yeah, there is no question of success or failure here. He is just operating from that silence of the self. Yeah? And you recognize the silence of the self, right? You go there for a few seconds every now and then you jump out. He is unattached to anything but remains as a witness of everything without selfish desires or motives. This is very important. He doesn't jump in to do something for himself. There is no selfish desire or motive. Means he's not going to do something which will benefit I but harm somebody else. Yeah. He might do something which benefits me and everybody else. For example, he will help somebody read a scripture. So he is doing an action which is selfish, maybe probably to be in knowledge at that moment, or to spend time in seva. He's doing it so that he feels happy at that moment, or that is his way of leading his life. So it's seemingly he's doing it for himself, but selfish means I over the other. Motive means I over the other. Are you getting it? I over you, intention inside is selfish. Are you getting it? So you do so many things for your spiritual progress, but you're not doing that to put somebody else down. That is not selfish. Are you seeing what I'm saying?
So ill intention.
Ill intention is not there, correct. So such a person, such a Mahakarta, will never have an ill intention. Never ever. I give you just these 2-3 examples like this. But he lives his life doing all actions with no action with an ill intention.
That action could still create all sorts of feelings, ragas, dveshas for people around them.
Yeah. If somebody wants to misinterpret, if they want to say Millie is bad, they are going to say Millie is bad.
Maybe so selfish. They might have that, but that's their own journey.
That's
right?
their own problem. Yeah, that's got nothing to do with Millie. Very clear? Yeah. From Millie's heart, there is no intention of I over you.
The ego is not there.
Got it? That is the meaning of this. But still performing all actions in the world like that. Everything. So homework number 2. Yeah. Do you have any selfish motives? Or do you still act out of selfish motives in your relationships, at work, with friends? Or have you graduated to that level where, come what may, I will be pure?
So can I ask a question, Ektaji? So the I overview. So the I here is still my intention to do what I like to do,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's just that it's different from what you like to do,
Hmm.
but that's okay for me.
Okay, I just gave one example.
Yeah.
But in your mind, it is not that, I am better than you or I am more spiritual than you. This is what starts happening on this path. It becomes very a subtle ego that, see, I am more spiritually inclined than you are. We tend to do that to our peers because we've been in the knowledge for so long, we very subtly we do it. We don't even realize we are doing that. We might not say it through the lips to somebody, but inside we have that feeling that, I'm way better than you are. I'm not saying this to you, but, spiritually I'm higher. So this again becomes selfishness because just this subtle feeling can lead to an action. Correct? Any action is born out of your thought. And even if you've not said it in words to your own self, there is a feeling. A feeling is equivalent to thought. Yeah? You will not always say it. You might not say in your head, oh, I am greater than you. But there is a very subtle ahankara. We call this sukshma ahankara. It's so sukshma that we also cannot really pinpoint it. Yeah, we have to become more and more alert and aware and recognize, oh, I have a sukshma ahankara. This is how it feels. It does not talk out loud. That's why it's called sukshma. What is sukshma? Subtle. It's very subtle. It's very quiet. It does not say it loudly in words, but it's just as a feeling inside. Yeah? You understand what I'm saying? Feeling, no? Like you have a feeling of being the mother, the protector of the kids. You don't say it to yourself, but you just have that bhava of protecting. Like that, you have a subtle bhava of being above the kids also. That is why you have the feeling of protecting, but you are not even aware that you have this sukshma bhava that I am higher or bigger than the kids. Yeah, it's a very sukshma bhava. So it's not in words. Similarly, on the spiritual path, you get a sukshma bhava. I am better than you. Yeah, spiritually. It doesn't talk in words. Start recognizing. Homework number, I've forgotten the number.
So how do we work on that?
First, homework number 3, recognize, start really checking. You have to keep checking, do I have it? I'm not saying everybody has it. Yeah, you check. And you want to be in the category that doesn't have it. Shruti shook her head, so happy.
Maybe so. It is there. It is there.
You
Started
recognize
noticing
it.
already. It is there, and it is very sukshma also. It is very gross also. So different kinds of ego are there all the time. Like with every interaction, while doing anything, even thinking about seva or anything like that, there is ego there.
So you recognize it already. Perfect. Now that you recognize it, again and again bring to your memory that, see, ego is the reason I am in this body-mind complex and caught in this drama of life and death. So really, I am getting stuck back into that same ego that I really have a goal to get free of. On the spiritual path, the ego is sukshma, but a bigger bondage.
Maybe who is looking to get liberated, or who is looking to get out of it?
You tell me.
Is ego looking to get out of ego?
How can ego get out of ego? Then There are
So
multiple
what
egos.
is there in me that is looking to get out of it?
You tell me. Now can you be aware of yourself? Who asked this question? Andar dekho. Look within. Kaun bola? Who asked this question?
It is somewhere deep. I don't know.
You see. You tell me, who is lost in the words of the ego? What is it that has forgotten itself and has lost itself in the words of the ego in this world and the gunas and karmas?
I am.
Yeah. And who is that I? Is it that ego? Is it that mind? Is it thoughts? Are you thoughts? Okay, one by one. Are you thoughts? Yes or no? Are you thoughts? So that means thought is equal to mind, you know that. So,
Yeah, because I've seen it rise and I've
yes.
seen it
Yeah.
fall.
So I am not the mind. Yeah. Next, are you the emotion arising with these thoughts?
No, I have seen it rise and I've seen it fall.
Okay. Are you this body? Are you this body? Have you been aware of the body sleeping in the night even for a few seconds?
Yes.
Yeah. So who is aware? So obviously you're separate from the body, no? That is why you were aware of the body. So I am separate and body is separate, correct? So are you the body?
Hmm.
Okay, what is left now? Are you that intellect, that memory? That is just bunch of thoughts. We already discussed thought is equal to mind. So they fall under the umbrella of the mind.
Yeah.
So I am not the intellect, I am not the memory. What is left?
The self.
Process of elimination. Niti, 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 niti. At the end, what is left? That is who I am. Can I see that I, that self?
Yeah.
How much have I tried to turn inwards? Whichever direction I turn will be a wrong direction. Will be outside. I cannot turn inwards and see the self. I can only be the self. Are you seeing this? So I have got lost into this world and identified with this body, relationships of this body, titles of this body, all the things that this body has got because of its karma. And that's why I think I am that. Are you getting it? But it is just a thought, and that thought is the ego. It doesn't even have a separate identity like, as if the mind has, like a body has. Ego doesn't even exist really. It's just a false identity.
How am I holding it so tight? Like, since you started observing it, you realize that ego is always there. I mean, how am I holding it so tight?
Right from the beginning of creation, it was the first thing that gave birth to the body, That attachment is there. This body is born out of ego. Mind is born out of that false ego, that false identity which does not even exist. It's like you decide what you want to dream, then you dream it, and now you're tired of your own dream and you want to get out of your own dream. But the person who instigated that dream, that ego, that one entity is like a bhoot, a vampire all around you. And you have to break out of that fog. You have to just, free yourself from that fog to see the truth. So who is really confounded here? Who is confused?
I am.
Yeah. And what is that I?
The self.
The self.
Silence.
Very clear?
Yeah, on the one hand, Guruji says that you're already enlightened.
Hmm.
On the other hand,
Hmm.
the enlightened self is also a confused self.
Enlightened self is not confused. You're already enlightened means you don't have to go somewhere to find the self or to find the enlightenment. All you need to do is take a step back from this confusion drama that is created. You are already enlightened.
Hmm.
This sentence comes after you take that step back from that confusion. And where you're going to take a step back, you don't even have to take a step back from where you are sitting or standing right now. It's not even that far. The self is right where I am. I am just lost in thoughts and ideas and clouds of emotion. This is all in the foreground. Take a step back from this. That's all. And observe, be a witness to it. It is all happening, it is all moving. I am not doing only. It is happening because of gunas and karmas and the elements and their chemistry, and it is moving ahead. I am just a witness to it. I am enlightened. But the moment I again become one with this drama and I forget myself that I am that self. I become the ego. I like things, I dislike, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. Finished. I have become one with the drama.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
The simple thing is to always remember to take that step back. Now, this we were doing again and again this last weekend as a process with open eyes to come back to the self again and again. Yeah, so we'll do this again in another weekend so that you get more experience of doing it. You can be in a state where you're 24/7 established in that nothingness of the self, and then you can take decisions from there, do actions from there.
Right.
Yeah? Only when you do actions from the silence of the self can you become a Mahakarta. The first paragraph.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. The ego tricks me into talking about meditation in groups where there is no need to mention it. No one asked me to or brought it up. Citing examples or narrative that the society needs it, we have this tool, we have this knowledge, we should spread it. The ego confuses me into a story that I am helping, but it is really my teacher, my path, etc.
That is true. That is very, very true. Very soon you will come to a stage where you don't feel the need of doing any action. If it happens through me, I am an instrument, I am open. There is no resistance, but you will stop initiating any action in any direction. Yeah? And it is not just related to seva or meditation or talking to people, anything. There will be no initiation from your side. It's a very natural thing to happen, but it happens after the stage of dispassion. The prerequisite of that is the pure flowering or pure blossoming of dispassion. When there is no desire only to get something, to achieve something, to do something, everything is fine the way it is. It's okay. Yet I am open if an action is required. I'm an instrument of the divine. If he wants to use me, he can use me to do a particular action. Otherwise, I stay put. This becomes a very natural thing in you. Then all these issues will not come up. The ego will not go out showing somebody else that, I know this and you should do this. होता ही नहीं है. Too much effort.
That phase too can just be a glimpse, right? It can come and go till it's permanent.
Yes. So any of these phases will come and go. Which means even nirvana will come and go in glimpses. you will experience that absolute silence of the self, and you are peace, you are just love, you are pure, and finish. It's gone. Next moment you are into a fight. Yeah? So that shuttling will happen because of that. I told you that magnetic effect of that ego on the self, that friction, that tension does not let you get established very easily. You think ego is going to leave without a struggle? Forget about it.
Apparently not.
No. So that is the ego's thing, no? That I cannot lose so easily. Yeah, and then finally its power has to weaken. That's it. When it's on lower power than the self, then it's gone. Then it's lost the battle.
So, question from Amrita. So, follow up to Shruti's question: how do we look for spirituality if ego is confused with if it is confused with ego as one?
How to look for spirituality? मतलब क्या है इसमें? Look for spirituality itself, they confuse. तेरे mind में confusion है. Recognizing I am the self and I am not the ego. This is spirituality. Very simple. There is no other definition to spirituality. Recognizing I am the self and I am not this false identity called the ego. This is all made up because I got confused. And I've been confused for many lifetimes. That's it. That thirst will always be in you to find yourself. Isn't there thirst? Whatever you do, how much money you make, what you achieve in life, there is this thirst, there is this tadup inside you. That there's something, yeah, there's something missing, something amiss. I don't know what it is, but there is something amiss. And that's why you're restless, and that's why you get into fights also many times. You just don't know what's amiss. You can't figure it out. That's all it is. And the day you taste that being in the self, then this ego loses its. Suppose the battery had 3 bars, 1 bar gone. And the first bar goes directly at the first awakening. After that, it's just a matter of learning to be established. Awakening, you wake up only once. Do you get what I'm saying? You wake up in the morning, you wake up, you're awake. But now you don't want to get out of the bed. That struggle you will have to get through. It is just tamas.
Yeah, so to that point, there was a knowledge sheet that we read recently on dispassion, and one of the lines in that knowledge sheet was that bliss, we get addicted to bliss, and bliss brings inertia.
Yes.
And the title of that sheet was dispassion. So it was talking about that you have to be dispassionate to that extent.
Yes. Even to that
bliss.
tamas. Yeah, even to the bliss, even to the tamas. Everything. You have to be dispassionate, period. To everything. Yeah. So the first awakening, when it happens, of course you're going to get attached. Of course you are going to, the ego is going to come up and say, yay, I got it, and finish. The moment it says, yay, I got it, you're gone from that self. Again, you're back to that. Do you get it? So the first awakening is like just waking up the first moment in the morning, but that, oh no, I want to sleep some more, and you can go back into your dream, you can go back to sleep, you notice? That's the biggest danger. You can go back to sleep after awakening also. Yeah. It's such a big thing, waking up. It's so enormously powerful that you can't take it. If you are not prepared enough, your awareness is not chiseled and sharp enough, and if you've not done enough scriptures to help you prepare mentally for what's coming, it's too big a thing to झेलना कैसे बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में?
To experience.
bear,
To bear.
to bear, no?
To bear.
Handle or bear. Yeah.
Yeah. To be able to endure it. You can't endure it. It's
overwhelming.
yeah, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. There's no words that can be described, but that first awakening is a jarring experience for the ego. He doesn't like it. He wants to pull you back, and he pulls you back, and many times very successfully.
When you say going back to sleep, like
You can forget about the awakening and you can go back into your confusion of self.
is it like truly purely forgetting about it altogether, or like in some ways it feels like once you see that,
Yeah.
you can never really go back. Like
Yeah.
you might be snoozing maybe, but you're not in deep
So-
sleep. Is it
No,
possible to go
yes,
back?
yes, it is possible. So many stories, there's so many things. There are even children who have woken up and again gone back to their ways, but they're so small because they don't understand. So that child's example is given as an example because his intellect is not matured enough to understand awakening. Yeah. So just like that, somebody who has not been on the spiritual path, has not held the hand of a guru, is not prepared. He is like a child. That is why first it is said, surrender to a guru. At least endure that big, huge energy which is physical form in front of you. Once you have that tolerance that you can endure that and surpass your doubts about somebody in the physical form and all the nonsense that can happen around that, that if you are ready and prepared and you can endure that, then you have prepared for something bigger. That is why Guru is so important. You know, he keeps brushing you from every side, cleaning you, removing impurities. These scriptures do that. Right? It is just to get to that last point.
Otherwise, you would dismiss the experience as
Correct.
too much of an anomaly from everything else.
Correct. For example, Eckhart told, right? He said that he didn't even know he got enlightened.
Yeah.
Later on, he read something and then he understood this is what people call awakening or enlightenment.
Yeah.
So you see, there's a possibility where if the maturity is less, not even recognition of what is. Yeah, you don't know really how many years ago it was, and how much more mess, chaos, confusion in the world happened after that also. So you're seeing it in alive gurus today. And I think he's great in confessing about it. He didn't have to tell us. So that's amazing. So Mahakarta is one who recognizes this and from dispassion continuously is doing every action. Yeah? There is no selfish motive, yet he is constantly established in the self while acting. Yeah? He is a Mahakarta. Not being a doer, yeah? He is doing. He's the biggest doer or the greatest doer. Yeah? So I think everything in that paragraph is simple, no? It's without excitement or exaltation, but with a mind at peace. His very nature is peace, equilibrium, equanimity, which is sustained in all situations. In the birth, existence, or annihilation of things. So that paragraph is all clear, right? Mahakarta. Second is Mahabhokta, the great enjoyer, who does not hate anything nor longs for anything, but enjoys all natural experiences. Yeah? So just like I am not the doer, I am just a witness to everything, like that only I don't experience it. Yeah, this body-mind complex is in the foreground. I am in the background somewhere. I am like the sky on which there are these passing clouds. These passing clouds only do stuff, and these passing clouds only experience stuff. I am just a witness.
When it says great enjoyer, is this where, like in the past, you talked about that childlike state where something good happens, you laugh, when something doesn't
Yes,
good
he will
doesn't
laugh,
happen,
he will
you'll
smile.
cry, or-
Yeah.
But it just comes and it goes
Goes.
with that, like
Yeah, there's no
there's
attachment.
no that.
He's 100% in the moment.
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying it. I got this, I enjoy it 100%. Like be 100% with everything.
Yes, and yet not saying it is my sukha or my dukkha. When I experience unpleasant, how I get stuck onto it. My dukkha, mine. No, it is not mine. His fists are open all the time. Yeah, this is the biggest enjoyer. Enjoy everything and then you drop. So it is on the same line.
You don't hanker on after that.
Yes.
Enjoy it, done. Forgotten.
So which means you are enjoying dukkha also.
Yeah.
You can't say I enjoy only sukha and not dukkha. This is also a play. And this is also the same Ramayana going on. Yeah. So if I like the good scenes, the pleasant scenes, I also enjoy the unpleasant scenes. It brings maturity. It helps me grow. See it that way. Mahabhukta, great enjoyer. He does not cling to nor renounce anything, even while engaged in actions. Who does not experience though experiencing, who witnesses the world play unaffected by it. His heart is not affected by pleasure and pain that arise in the course of life and the changes that cause confusion. This is the most important. The changes that cause confusion. What confusion is it going to cause?
That I'm not the self.
Yes. Oh, I am this dukkha is happening to me. It's happening to my family. My family is in trouble. So now what have I done? I have identified with the dukkha. Yeah? No. That confusion he never gets into. He is very clear. There is no I, there is no mind. This is a play of karma. It is coming of its own accord. It's playing of its own accord. It will pass away of its own accord. It's got nothing to do with me. Yeah? And he regards with delight old age and death, sovereignty and poverty, and even great calamities and fortunes. Yeah. See, he regards with delight. Yeah. There is a beauty in all these things. There is a beauty. It's not a masochistic kind of look. Please don't look like that when I say that. But really, in the negative things in life, it brings a sthirta. It brings you to the present moment if you're lost in the sukha. Have you noticed? When everything is hunky-dory in life, you tend to get lost in that. There is no awareness. Dukkha comes, it shakes you up, it wakes you up. Suddenly you become conscious. Yeah? And you cannot become unconscious in that sukha-like state only, because the dukkha is constantly in your face. So there is that beauty, it brings awareness. It's just really beautiful to have. It sharpens you. So thank dukkha also. His very nature is non-violent and virtuous, and he enjoys what is sweet and what is bitter with equal relish, without making any arbitrary distinction. This is enjoyable and this is not. Yeah. Homework number 4 or 5, whatever. Have you reached this stage where you regard the opposites as equal? If not, just for 1 week, can we practice? If there's something which is uncomfortable, which is not to our taste, can we just look at it with that equal vision? Without cribbing, without wham, wham, without crying, just with that equal vision that this is beautiful. Thorns are equally beautiful as the rose. Just for 1 week, can we just change our perspective, the way we look at things?
It's like not labeling.
Huh. No labeling. What is.
We tend to label stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an experience, that's it.
Yeah.
Not
Not good, not bad.
It's an
It's an experience. Perfect. Yeah. Without labeling, just going through what is. Yeah, that's the homework for the week. So Mahabhukta is clear. Yeah. Then is Mahatyagi. He's the great renouncer who has banished from his mind concepts like dharma and adharma, pain and pleasure, birth and death, all desires, all doubts, all convictions, who sees the falsity in the experience of pain in his body or mind, and who has realized, I have no body, no birth, no right, no wrong, and who has completely abandoned from his heart the notion of world appearance. Yeah. The Mahatyagi stage happens a little further on, where you go beyond right and wrong. We've discussed this, no? There is nothing right, there is nothing wrong. There is no concept only of the opposites. He's gone beyond duality, beyond the Dvaitam. And he's just resting. What is.
This part is particularly hard.
Yes.
Because every day we're brought up with morals of, this is how you should or you shouldn't be.
Yes.
And you constantly question why not.
Yes.
And even at work, like, it's based on the foundation of this is right, this is wrong, this is the right way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it. It's very hard to separate from this particular
You
place.
can't directly go to this Mahatyagi stage. That is what I told you. This will come further on down the road. First you start with the Mahakarta and the Mahabhukta. I am not the doer, or I am the greatest doer. One of the two. Both mean the same. Remember Ashtavakra?
Yeah.
I am everything or I am nothing. Both are the same. They take you to the same place. And you do Mahabhukta. Mahatyagi is a natural blossoming as an end product of the practice of Mahakarta and Mahabhukta. Automatically it will happen. You cannot do something about it. There is no doing in it. Yeah. Okay. Moral courage. When I get lost into this ego, I get lost into the fancy of this world and what Maya, that ego, has created for me. I am not ready to let go of all the beautiful things that the ego is showing me. Ego is showing, oh, I am this and I am that and I have done this, I have created this house, this money, this family, I am this. This whole drama, this entire beautiful Maya created by the ego is so enamoring that I am not ready to leave it. So the self needs to have that moral courage to take a step back and learn to witness and not get lost in the thoughts and emotions and become one with it again and again. This becoming one is the problem. So this needs that moral courage. And why moral? Just courage would have sufficed, no? Why moral courage? Because it is with that intention, with that goal to be in the self. To be in the self, I need, the first prerequisite is purity. Yeah, I cannot start with impurity. Yeah, that is why moral courage. Yeah. Ego is the one that is impure. Self is the one that is pure. This pure has got mixed up with the impure and become impure. Now it is the journey away from that impurity. Yes, where I can just be established in that self, come what may. Whatever impurity attracts me, I will not get attracted to that. I will have the courage to stay where I am. Yeah. So those who attended this weekend session, practice being established in the isness. Being established in the isness is the key. Again and again and again. Be a sakshi to what is. Yeah, which means empty mind, totally empty. And bear it. And see that it's so difficult to bear your own silence. Yeah. Have the courage to bear that silence, and that is moral courage. Yeah. Anything else I missed on the page? All good? ठीक है? चलो then. I'll see you next week. Jai Gurudev.
Check.